Hello traders, and welcome to a new tool that I've found from Binance.com that is super helpful for trading any Binance pair. Now, this is a tool I actually found from the mobile version. I was on Safari on my iPhone and I found this exact thing that you're looking at. Now, this isn't what I find that special, it's this. This is a distribution on every single Binance coin of what percent of large buys are occurring, what percent of large sells are occurring, medium-sized buys, medium-sized sells, and just a ton of really helpful information on what the big players and the small players are doing on any Binance coin. It's super cool. This is not available from what I found on the desktop version, on the regular version, on a laptop or a computer. I've only been able to find this on the mobile version. It's weird. I don't know why it's not on their main site, but it's a little hidden gem, and now the hidden gem is probably a lot less hidden. So here it is. Before we get into the wonders of really how to use this and how to get to this, what I want to say is I've recently released my learning course to order flow. If you're interested in learning more about order flow, you can click the link in the description below. I've also released ebooks in the past on price action volume and order book techniques and some other trading techniques you could add in your arsenal. If you're curious about those, you can click the link in the description below. Final announcement, well, two more announcements, then we're going to go do some analysis, is that, the first one is I have a new microphone. You can probably hear the audio quality is just a lot crisper now. I have this awesome, beautiful new Blue Yeti. It's right here. You can't really see it, but he's there with a pop filter as well. Love that. And finally, I have a live stream this Sunday that will only be accessible for people who bought the learning course to order flow. It's going to be on order flow, and it's going to be a Q&A with some live trading analysis. That's going to be a lot of fun. So announcements out of the way at the 2-minute mark. A lot of announcements, but if you stayed, you are going to claim your prize. Let me first talk about what we're looking at and how to get to this, and then we're going to go to live analysis. So the first thing that I want to say is I'm gonna attach the link in the description below. Of course, I'm not gonna make you guys try to find this, but any coin, just type it in here. The first name, so the coin name, and then underscore that. If you don't want to do it that way, you can also just go here, go to markets, and then just click any coin from there. But if you want to do it the URL way, if I wanted to get like ETC USDT, I would do this. Just super simple. Like that. Okay. So you can use the underscore in that there. But let's look at what we're looking at here. So this is a collection of small, medium, and large buy trades over any given time frame that you want to look at. We're looking at the past day. So in the past day on Link BTC, I know that the majority of buys have actually been medium-sized buys. The majority of sells have been around medium-sized sells. But on Link, I can clearly see that the large traders are selling more than buying. Look at this. We have 740,000 worth of of large buys versus 1 million of large sells on Link. And you can also see that here. This is a net of large buy minus large sell. You can see of large buy minus large sell, we have a dominance of the sellers. That's right here. Medium is about equal. Again, I don't really look at this at all. This is kind of not what I like to look at. It's this that I like to look at because this is just a quick representation of really what's going on any specific coin. Small, I'm not really seeing much, but this is a nice pattern where I'm actually seeing the larger traders are selling more on Link, but the smaller traders are buying more on Link. So that's a pretty bearish sign. And this is a really helpful way. And then this is the overall. So large, medium, and small net. And then this is the overall buy minus sell for that period for market orders. Now this is very helpful, but I found what really is the most helpful is what you're looking at below. This is a CVD. This is basically a collection of all market buys minus market sells on Link BTC. So this is collected every 15 minutes, and you can really just look at the flows of these market orders here. And if you're ever curious, hey, when would have probably been a good spot for us to have sold, it probably would have been here. It probably would have been around here because that's where the market buying stopped. If you're like, hey, where would have probably been a good time to have bought? Probably somewhere around here. That's before the market buying had occurred because we always want to buy before others buy and sell before others sell, right? So let's go look at really what was going on at 2:15 on Link BTC. So right now this is XBT USD, but let's go look at Link BTC at 2:15 in the AM. And yeah, so 2:15 Where are you? Here. So it's really looks like a market top right here at 215. And yeah, price fell. So this would have been a good time to have shorted Link, and you can easily short Link on Binance Margin if you have access to Binance Margin. So at 215, yeah, that was where market buying really stopped. So market buying did continue. Even at this top, people continued to market buy. Then they just completely stopped when price got here. Then people started market selling more than they market bought. Now, how would you have known, hey, this is a sign that the market's going down? Well, in an uptrend, what do we expect? Well, here's what we expect in an uptrend. We're going to expect to see CVD, or here it's just called trade tracking. We're going to expect to see the trade tracker continue to rise in an uptrend because people continue to market buy more than market sell, right? Whenever we see a large decrease, so people are finally more market selling than buying, that's going to tip us off to maybe there's a change in the trend or actually a retracement. Now, I want to point one thing out to you guys. Do you see any significant decrease in the CVD anywhere here? No, not really. I mean, to be honest with you guys, the only decrease we see is a 186,000 link of CVD down to 204. That's not much percent-wise. That's just not much. But if we look here, we're at negative 47,000. So we've gotten a lot higher. And we go down to negative 112,000. So it's this point that we are probably wanting to short at around 215 to 230. This prints at 230. And once that prints at 230, that's probably our opportunity to short at this market top. And that would have been a pretty good short. Let's also look at what was going on here. I mean, what was happening at 5:15 when we made this other market top? 5 o'clock, 5:15. 5 o'clock, 5:15, just people were more selling. I mean, you can even see here, it's just a slow thing. There's just not much buying. It's just mostly sells. And yeah, you can see that here, that people just continued to sell at 5 o'clock to 5:15. So even on this run up, people were more market selling than market buying, which is probably telling us that the market's probably going to go lower, which it did. So had you, let me put that into context with an actual trade. Had you shorted here and seen this, you probably wouldn't have been too scared. Why do I say that? Well, I mean, there's just not much buying here. It's just that's the way it is. I'm just not seeing any buying. So, you could have held and then potentially taken profit here. Well, what happens at 7 a.m.? What happens around 7 a.m. to 7:30? Around that time, what changes? Well, what we can see is that we're seeing a change in the CVD, where we're actually finally seeing more buys coming in here. I mean, it's not a great sign. It's not like a beautiful signal. And you may have not made a lot of profit on this just using CVD. But I can tell you that there definitely is a bit of a change in bias here, especially here when we get to about 9:15. Okay. Well, let's go look at, we looked at Link BTC. Let's go look at Link USDT. And let's see, again, to get to where I just been, you click trading analysis, click the time frame that you want. Okay, we got the 1 day, awesome. Oh my God. Only 4% of large trades have been buys. Only 4% of all trades have been large buys. 6% have been large sells. Yeah, this is just clearly the sellers are dominating. I mean, on Link USDT, it looks like the sellers are in complete control. Look at this. So let's go look at Link USDT instead of Link BTC. Really looks like a pretty similar graph. But we can see here. So when would have been a good time for us to have bought? Well, I see something interesting here. Look, guys, look at 8:15 to 8:30. I'm seeing a pretty large increase in the CVD. This is telling me that maybe a new trend's emerging, So 8:15 to 8:30, what was going on here? Is that a good time for us to buy? Yeah, that would have been a great time for us to have bought. Look here. If you had bought at 8:15 on the close, price goes up 2.3%. And there's another interesting fact here as well. This is the third touch of resistance. We have 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. And if you're curious, hey, is resistance going to hold or is resistance going to fall? Well, this is telling me with all of that buying that resistance will probably fall. I say that because of this large increase in market buying. Now, you can see that the market buying continues. There's really no reason to close your trade. I mean, if you had bought at 8:15 at that price keeps going up. Awesome. No reason to close. But then at 10 o'clock, the 9:45 to 10 o'clock, you see a massive change in bias. And that's at the market top. Right? Because from 9:45 to 10 o'clock, we just see a lot of, and you can see it right there, that's selling. We see just a ton of selling here. This is not good. I mean, if I had bought at 8:15 and I'm holding and I'm waiting for a spot to take profit, this is not healthy. This is something that's telling me that I should probably even reverse my position and just jump into a short And if had you jumped into a short, I mean, you would have shorted the top right here. And price went right back down. Now, let's look at distributions during this time. Well, distribution-wise, I mean, it's just a clear dominance of the large buys, and the mediums are dominating over the small. Small traders are mostly buying, but large traders are mostly selling. That's a sign that I want to short. Simple as that. And you can see that here with the actual numbers and the percentage distribution, okay? Now let's look at, sorry guys, I have like a cold, so I'm like constantly sniffling. Let's look at, what is this time frame? Past 2-3 hours. I want to see in the past 2-3 hours. So in the past 2 hours, as price is falling, as price fell, show me what's going on. And this is the beauty of this tool. So in the past 2 hours, there have been no large buys. There have been not many medium buys or small buys. And you can see here in the last 2 hours, it's been all sells. This is telling me that Link is probably going to continue to fall. I'm not really seeing a lot of bullish strength at this moment. Now, if you look in the future, if you watch this video in the future and Link rose, I'd be really interested in you looking at what actually the trading analysis looked like, because it probably changed. But the current bias is short. The current bias is bearish. And looking for a short at this current point in time is probably not a bad idea. Reason I say that is because the sellers are clearly in control here. And look here, you can see that here as well. But there is a bit of buyer dominance coming in, but not like a ton. Not something like, you know, a sharp decrease or potentially like a sharp increase like what happened at 2 a.m. on Link Central Time. But here it looks pretty clear that the sellers are in control. Let's go to the past 4 hours. I want to get some more data here. Past 4 hours, same story, just sellers are in control. How about we go super short term and go the last 30 minutes? You know, what is happening in the very, very, very short term? Well, in the very short term, ooh, we're actually seeing some buys coming in, but it's only $23,000. That's nothing, really. But in the past 30 minutes, we've seen buyers begin to dominate. So really, what do I do with all this analysis? I know that this may seem like we're going all over the place, and potentially we are. But what I just did is on the daily, I can see I have a bearish bias because I can see a dominance of more sells than buys. Smaller buys, larger sells, I'd rather join the sells, okay? I'd rather short. Now, in the 30-minute, when we go very, very short term, I can see that the price is beginning to see some buyer dominance. So I don't want to short now, right? The reason I say I don't want to short now is because in the very short term, it looks bullish. It looks like traders are beginning to buy here, and here you can see on this. However, I still am bearish on Link because I see that the net large trades is still favoring the sellers, even though we're only looking at a 30-minute look back. So I'm expecting for my final analysis that Link rises a little bit and then falls. So with that, you know, how would I actually trade this myself? This is not financial advice, but I would probably put one limit order here, maybe one limit order here, and then my stop loss somewhere much higher, like right before 2, probably like there. So that would mean that my average price would be around here if both of these fill. And if price hits the stop loss, that's about a 3.22% loss. So if you put $1,000 in, that would be a quick math. That would be about a $33 loss, I think. Yeah, like a $33 loss. If you put $1,000 in, $500 here, $500 here, worth for Link USDT, and it goes way down. You make $50 here. You make like $70, and you guys get the idea. So that is something that I would do. I just walked you guys through super fun little Binance analysis that I had just performed there. Do not take that exact setup that I had shown, because that was just a quick, a quick one. You're going to want to take more time when you actually set your limit orders. All right. So that's going to be it for this super helpful tool. I'm in love with it. Really, this is such a cool tool. And if you want to get to any other markets to actually do the same analysis, just go here. You can even look at 24-hour change. We can say, hey, Knowles, what in the world is happening to Knowles BTC? It just went up 17%. Well, let's go look at the past 4 hour, and I want to see the distributions. All right, distributions, it's clearly bullish, and you can just see just how good it would have been to have bought here. Look at this. If we had bought at 23 o'clock. I mean, that would have been a beauty because everyone buys at 23.15. If you had noticed this at 23 o'clock, which is right here, and you had bought at the close, price goes up 13.71%. So that would have been good to have noticed from just, noticing the strong market buying. And then potentially for a spot to sell, if you wanted to have sold, you can see people begin to take profit here. Probably just selling here is best. Or you could wait to sell here, of course, at around 215, 230. How does 215, 230? Yeah, right here. Selling here is probably good too. Reason I say that is because you see this strong selling from here to here. Again, when this goes down, it means more selling. When it goes up, it means more buying. With that, happy trading. Go check out this tool. And also, you can go take a look at the link in the description for the products and services that I offer as well. Goodbye.